In this lesson, we'll create shaft openings. So if we've created floors, and now we need to cut holes within our floor. In the plan we're currently looking at, we see two shaft openings, indicated by the X, the one on the bottom and the one on the top of this drawing. We need to create a third one in the middle. So to create an actual shaft opening, go to the floor that you want to create the opening on, then go to the Structure tab. On the right side of the Structure tab in the opening area, click Shaft. Revit will then switch and ask you to start drawing the rectangular or opening shape for the shaft. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see the area a little better. Now I have different tools that I could use, a line, a rectangle. I can pick lines or pick walls. I'm going to use the rectangle tool, and I'm going to move into the area where I want to create the shaft, making sure it's not over any columns. Simply drag, and for this example, the size isn't really relevant. Once you have the size you want for your shaft opening, click. That produces the opening for the shaft. If you draw lines, the lines have to be all connected and cannot cross. Now, if you want the symbolic line or the X in the middle of the shaft, you need to click Symbolic Line and then draw that actual representation, in this case that X, from corner to corner. Or you could use whatever symbol you want or whatever design you want within that shaft opening. Once done, click the green check mark. This will apply the shaft, but depending upon what level you drew the shaft on, it may not cut through all the floors. For example, if I zoom out a little bit and I mouse over the edge of the floor, I can see the other two shaft openings highlight where the hole is at, or the opening, but this one doesn't. So we need to modify the properties of this shaft. Click on the X for the symbol that we created. Now, if you wanted to edit the actual pattern or profile, you can click Edit Sketch. But I don't need to edit my sketch, I just need to edit the constraints. So on the left for shaft opening, we have base constraint and top constraint. My base constraint right now says floor 2, but really I want the opening to start all the way down on level 1. So I'll click the level 1 entry level. Then the top constraint for the height of the shaft, I want it to go all the way up to the roof. So it's currently set up to level roof. Click Apply. Once we apply this floor now should be cut, so when you deselect and then select or hover over the floor, I can see the shaft is now cut through this floor plate. So as a review, in this lesson, we looked at creating shaft openings. We first went to a plan view to create our shaft, then we chose the shaft tool from the Structure tab. We then drew the actual shape of the shaft opening, in this case a rectangle, and then we drew the symbolic lines, the X, through the middle of the shaft. After we did that, we completed the command. But what we noticed was the shaft didn't cut through the floor plate. To change this, we needed to modify its properties. So we selected the shaft, or the X representing the shaft. If you wanted to edit the profile, you could click Edit Sketch, but we just needed to look at the properties. So with the shaft selected, we changed the top and bottom constraints of what the shaft would cut through. Once we updated those, the shaft cut through the floor plate in our floor plan.